Howdy, folks. Howie here, Howie the Cat. And it's going to be a reading of Sherlock Holmes, I'm sorry, Sherlock Hemlock and the Creatures from Outer Space. It's a Sesame Street book. So let's read this. I don't know that character from Sesame Street, but we have, no, that's not up there. Zoe, we have Bert, Ernie, Big Bird, Count, Grover, whatever, all reading their books. Fun opening page. There's Sherlock Hemlock. I guess that's that character. I don't know him. But he's a Muppet. And we got him sitting in his room and all these things. There's a pumpkin up here and a pirate ship. We've got a pharaoh mask. Okay, the guy's got a wild house. Okay, so let's get into this as we read. One day, Sherlock Hemlock, the world's greatest detective, was sitting in his easy chair, reading a book about outer space. And on the planet Snarf lived a strange creatures with incredible powers, he read. The creatures were preparing to visit other planets, including Earth. And I really don't know his voice, so I'm just making it up. I kind of enjoy this. I'm glad this is the only a story, Sherlock Hemlock said to himself. If I were not a brave detective, I would be very scared. Suddenly he heard people shouting and running outside. Oh, look, we got people running and shouting, and there's Cookie Monster and Bert and Ernie and Big Bird, and they're all shouting and running outside. That's what they're doing. Sherlock Hemlock looked out the window and saw everybody running down the street. It's coming, shouted Bert. Oh, I don't know these voices. It's coming, shouted Bert as he looked up in the sky. Hurry, get inside. Hey, Gad, Sherlock Hemlock cried as he watched the people hurrying indoors. Something strange is coming. Everybody is afraid and running away. What could it be? I have it. The creatures from Snarf are coming. Well, I, Sherlock Hemlock, will go out and find the creatures and scare them away. Good job, Sherlock. There he is. He's looking hard. See? Looking for clues. He looks at a leaf. When Sherlock Hemlock went outside, Sesame Street was empty. He didn't notice the black storm clouds in the sky or the leaves shivering on the trees or the branches waving in the wind. He was too busy looking for the creatures from outer space. Make sure you get that. Then he heard a rumbling in the distance. Look at him. He's got a rumbling. See it? Where's all that? He hurried up to roof 123 Sesame Street of Sesame. He hurried up the roof of 123 Sesame Street and looked in all directions. The rumbling seemed to be coming closer. Zounds! Cried Sherlock. That noise must be the approaching spaceships. As he hurried, there he is. He's up there. Sherlock Hemlock. As he hurried back downstairs, the wind began to whoosh down Sesame Street. Sherlock Hemlock stopped and listened. Ah! That loud roar must be rocket engines. The creatures from Snarf were landing in their spaceship right here on Sesame Street. Look at all the creatures are coming. That's wind. But he doesn't know. We don't know that either, right? No, we don't. Bam! The door shut in the fence by Big Bird's nest. Slam shut! That's where the creatures are hiding, Sherlock Hemlock said to himself. But when he opened the door and looked in the nest, nobody was there. Nobody's in Big Bird's room. Oh, look at another house there. All at once, the flashes of lightning streaked across the sky, and thunder boomed. Now the creatures are signaling to each other with their lights, cried Sherlock Hemlock. They are beating on their drums to scare me, but I am not afraid. He asked himself. No, he answered, not fearless Sherlock Hemlock. The wind blew harder and harder. Empty cans rolled along the street, and leaves and paper flew past Sherlock Hemlock. Ah, he shouted above the sound of the wind. Now the creatures from Snarf are throwing things. They must be very angry. But I, Sherlock Hemlock, the world's greatest detective, will not run away. Wham! Something round and hard and metal hit the great detective, knocking him flat. Just as I thought, said Sherlock, as he lay on the sidewalk. I have been hit by a small flying saucer. Looks like he got hit by either a can or a pizza. Can you see that? A can or a pizza cracked him right upside the noggin. Or not. I will hide under this, said Sherlock, holding the saucer-shaped object over his head. Oh, it was a trash can that hit him, I guess. Just then, hundreds of icy, round hailstones began falling from the sky. Gadzooks! Cried Sherlock Hemlock. Now the creatures are throwing stones at me. So he hides under his stuff. Then it started to rain, but Sherlock Hemlock was listening to something else now. Footsteps. I hear the creatures' footsteps coming down the street, and they're coming closer to me, and getting closer, and closer, and closer, and suddenly he saw Muppets. Muppets kind of cuddling them. Okay. 2 small children. Their hair was windblown, and their clothes were wet from the train. They were not wet from the train. Learn to read, man. Their hair was windblown, and their clothes were wet from the rain. They crowded under the lid with Sherlock. May we get under with you here? They asked. Egad! Cried Sherlock Hemlock as he looked at them. Your hair is wild, and both of you dripping wet. You must be the creatures from Snarf. When the blue blazes is a creature from Snarf. We're not creatures from anywhere, the children told him. We're Polly and Ned from down the street. The wind blew us. And the lightning and thunder scared us. The hailstones fell on us, and the rain got us all wet. What's that? Asked Sherlock Hemlock. You say there was wind. I've lost my voices. What's that? Asked Sherlock Hemlock. You say there was wind and lightning and thunder. My voice sucks. What's that? Hailstones and rain? Yes, said Polly. We were caught in the big storm. Wait, cried Sherlock. I have an answer. I have screwed up my little voices here. Oh, well. Listen, everybody, Sherlock Hemlock called. Come out. There's nothing to be afraid of. There are no creatures from the Snarf. There are just these 2 small children who are caught in a big storm. That is not the Sherlock I was doing at the beginning, is it? Oh, well. Storm. So, The dark clouds passed and the sun shone again. Sherlock Hemlock, the world's greatest detective, went on his way looking for another mystery to solve. Well, that was a Sesame Street book with weird voices, I guess. I had fun. Hope you did too. Have a good one, folks.